Hey everybody, it's Anna J. Wallner with the Author Library, and I am ecstatic and pleased to have with me today E.G. Radcliff. Can you tell us a little bit about you for those of you who don't know who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm E.G. Radcliff. I'm a young adult author of the fantasy series, The Coming of Áed, which is 3 books. It's The Hidden King, The Last Prince, and the third book, which is coming out early this summer, The Wild Court.
Oh, wow. So you have been crazy busy. And the Coming of Age series is an multiple award-winning series. What is when the awards roll in like that? What is that like? What kind of feeling is that? I mean,
Well,
they are varied in many.
it's incredible, actually. There's always a part of me that's deeply insecure about anything I create. So there's a bit of my brain that goes through, the whole writing process being like, this is the worst. Why am I doing this? And then the awards come in and it's just so fulfilling. It's like proof that I'm actually doing okay. And it just really makes me grateful because I've had, a great team to work with. Um, so it's just it makes me really happy.
No, it is amazing to see all of the awards. And it's a little intimidating for me to talk to someone that I know, I mean, is super talented. But I think we all have that, little sense inside of us as an author where we say, is anyone gonna like it? And that validation of
Mm,
winning an award or getting those 5-star reviews is just like so amazing.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So character development and relating with the characters is something that you do exceptionally well. Is there a secret that you have to making readers fall in love with them too?
Um, I think on some level, when you're writing, every character is a bit of yourself. I'm not necessarily positive that it's even possible to write a character that shares no traits with you at all. So I think that the relatability aspect, hopefully that comes through just because I'm writing about, to some extent, someone I know pretty well. Um, so, if you're capable of um, enough observation of both yourself and others to sort of put together like what makes a real life person and then convey that through a real life character, they're going to seem a little bit more fleshed out than if you were to just follow a sort of archetypical template. So I'm really glad you think I do a good job. That means a lot. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, and it's praise well deserved. Especially reading all of the reviews that you have for just the Last Prince itself, which is crazy how much people have fallen in love with the series itself. And and it is true what you say, because whenever we uh, just meet people in life, I think we do you think that as authors we might maybe pay attention to people's mannerisms and demeanor and the way they speak and their own character a little more than just the average person would?
Yeah, I know that I definitely try. At least I find myself watching the way people move. Certain people have distinct little habits. For instance, I have one friend who every time we're walking together and we hit a stoplight, when the light changes, he says, "Oh, it's us," every time. And it's like I probably wouldn't notice that if I wasn't, always kind of on the lookout for the little details that make each person distinct.
Yeah, very detail oriented in the writing that you do, which you have to do because world building is another notable thing that the series has been lauded for. How do you go about creating an entirely new world that people can relate to?
This is actually a really interesting question. For me, world building is honestly one of the most fun parts because you have a ton of freedom. So that's really fun. This particular book series started from a dream of mine. As in, I literally woke up, it was Sunday morning at like noon. I'd way overslept. And so, you know, those weird morning dreams, they're just like way detailed. I
Yes.
woke up and I was like, oh my God. So I sat down and I just started writing. I had some like cold spaghetti and I was just writing with my cold spaghetti breakfast for the entire day. And the bare roots of that world came out during that first like absolutely manic writing session. I didn't plan anything. And in the moment that worked great. It was super fun. It was really organic. Later it was a little tricky because since I actually hadn't planned anything, I had to kind of build from a wonky foundation. In the series that I'm planning at the moment, the one that will come after the Coming of Áed, I'm doing it a lot more organized. I have a nice OneNote that's got a bunch of pages on it. But overall, I think it's just like you have to understand. It's almost like you have to understand the rules in order to break them. You have to look really carefully at this world too and figure out, well, what could be different? If this thing was different, what would stay the same? What would change in the way people act and, you know, how the infrastructure works? It is very detail oriented, which I personally really like. But yeah.
It's gotten high praise for the world building in it, and that's why I mentioned that. And it's something that that is essential. It's almost like a character in and of itself, because it needs to be believable as well and immersive for the reader to feel like they're really walking through this world along with the characters and experiencing the same things that they do. And so that's something that's a talent to be able to do organically. And I love the story about manically writing with a plate of cold spaghetti, because I can relate to those strange waking dreams in the morning that seem so vivid, and you're like, yeah, that's why I like to take, one of the reasons why I like to take naps is for inspiration. Writer's block tips right there. So.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely 10 out of 10 correct.
So you mentioned, so the main characters differ in the first and the second book.
Mm-hmm.
What ties them together? What ties the series together?
So they all follow loosely. The third book deviates from this a little bit, but they all follow this sort of nuclear found family. So the first book follows Áed, and then the second book follows his partner, Ninian. And did I say third? The second book follows his partner Ninian. And the third book actually switches up the perspectives a little bit. You will get both some of Áed's perspective and some of Ronan's perspective, who is the child that Áed and Ninian adopted.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of two separate plot points that will combine and come together.
Yeah, but it correct. And it all just sort of revolves around this one unit.
And a central mission or a central goal or accomplishment.
Interestingly, I don't think so. Which could potentially, I feel like if I mess up, that could be an issue. But if I don't mess up, hopefully it'll work out. So I think that if you were to try to identify one theme in the story, it would probably be a familial theme. So every book, you know, in whichever form that family takes, every book is going to have that unifying element.
That was going to be my next question. Is there a common theme that you would say your series follows? And you just said right there, family ties everything together. So, yeah. But and one amazing thing that you've done that I've not seen done yet, and I'm in. I think it's such an amazing thing that you did do this, is a special Dislexia edition of The Hidden King. For those of us who don't understand what dyslexia is, can you give us a little bit of information about that, and also what the dyslexia version means and how it differs from the original version?
Yeah, so I do not have dyslexia, so I have to be careful speaking about it because, I don't want to say anything wrong.
Right.
But from what I understand, it can make it very difficult to read. And I feel like, as someone for whom reading is very important, I can't imagine, going through life struggling with that aspect. So what we ended up doing, my typesetter and I, we decided to put out an edition of The Hidden King. We haven't got to the other two yet, but we decided to put out an edition of The Hidden King in this font called Dislexia, and with some other modifications to make it more accessible. So those modifications, which is dyslexia font, shorter line length, ragged right-hand margins, a lower contrast and larger text, those tend to make it easier to read. We also went to the local high school because they have a reading specialist there. So she could give us a more professional review of how we were doing, whether these steps we were taking would actually be helpful. And yeah, so we released that for October, the Dyslexia Awareness Month.
That is fantastically awesome, and something that I've had a little bit of experience with. That I've known people who've not picked up a book or not done a lot of reading because it's difficult for them to. The way that they've described it is that the words almost seem to float off of the page. So what you're describing sounds like things that they had to do when in school, to read and to have special paper that was colored so that contrast could be seen more easily. So I mean, that's amazing that you even went to a local high school to see what would work and what wouldn't.
Yeah, it felt like a decent thing to do.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot out there that is super accessible in this regard.
Right.
And
And that's why that caught my
you know?
and that's why that caught my attention, because I've yet to see anyone else, even mainstream, big publish books, put out a special edition for those who endure the challenge of reading with dyslexia.
And the thing is that there's also a distinct demand for it. It's not like those books aren't going to sell. Like, we've sold through both Amazon and through Ingram Spark, which supplies bookstores and libraries. So people clearly, this is fulfilling a need. There should be more. My book can't fulfill this whole need,
That's
hopefully someday.
That's very true. And so that would be something that I would definitely get as a gift for someone who I knew had a difficult time reading or wanted to read more but felt like they couldn't because of dyslexia. That's just I'm in awe that you did do that, and I think that's just an amazingly altruistic and humanitarian thing to do. So.
Gosh, don't praise me too much, but thank you so
No,
much.
no, really. That's not a whole lot of people would think to do that. And I didn't even think that it was possible until I saw that you had done something like that. And then it was like, I had the same thought that you did. I was like, why is this not being done? Why is this format not being offered to with other mainstream, the big five, the big four, whatever it is now, books that are out there? Because there are people that would probably like to read them, but especially very, very large books, which your books are of a lengthy nature. It would be daunting for them to try and read the regular version, but having created the other version would make it more accessible. So that's amazing.
And
And
Dislexia is available to buy. So if anybody does, whether you're an independent author or this is something you want to, just do, you can buy the Dislexia font. And yeah, actually look up Christian Dale. I believe he's the creator. So you can get more.
okay, thank you for that. And yes, that should be something that if we have the ability to do it, we should include that in our catalog. So maybe we can start a trend.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That would be, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But the third book is in planning at the moment, so the series will continue. And you said hopefully this summer, late June.
Yeah.
Is
The
that
actual, go ahead, sorry.
no? I was going to say, is that when it goes on pre-sale, or is that when it's available? When can we pre-order?
Oh, great question. I don't know if I have an answer for pre-order at the moment. I actually just recently had to move a few things around because we had a date set, but given I know we've all been hearing the phrase these trying times, but these trying times were trying me. So I needed to extend that date just a little bit because I wasn't outputting work at a rate that I felt was sustainable. So the dates actually just are a little bit up in the air, but keep an eye out, mid to late June. That will be available to buy. So that's very exciting. Yeah.
No, I completely understand that sometimes you have to take a mental break, or a break due to circumstances, which again, thank you so much for your understanding about last week when Texas literally froze over.
No.
And I'm just grateful that because I've had this on my calendar, looking forward to it for weeks now, and it just broke my heart knowing that last week came and went and I didn't get to talk to you. So
Oh, well, I'm really glad to be able to talk to you now. And I completely understand. I promise. Like, I was when we were messaging, I was like, oh my God, that poor woman, holy moly.
and and a huge shout out not only to you for checking on me. Oh my God, thank you. But the whole Twitter community, the whole writing community, checked in on me at some point
Yeah.
to see that I was still able to text and not frozen, literally frozen. So
Yeah. It's an amazing group of people. Yeah. So
uh,
I'm so happy to be a part of it,
absolutely, without a doubt, I've learned so much in a short amount of time, and I know there's a lot more out there to learn. Speaking of which, as a multiple award-winning author, I'm trying to make you blush. Is what I'm trying to
It's
trying
working.
to do. Do you have any advice for those of us who are in the beginning of our independent or our career as an author, or passion as an author or writer? Is there any words of wisdom that you want to share?
Yeah. Honestly, I think some of the most important words that I know that I really needed to hear was that independent publishing is not independent at all. I have an incredible team, not only my family, who's extraordinarily supportive, but also, the team of professionals, my typesetter, my editors, my cover artists. It's just, you need to have people around you. It's one of those things where if you want to be okay, you need a support group. So it's definitely okay if you cannot actually do everything on your own. So that I think is very important. Also, just from a more craft perspective, it definitely helps for me personally, at least, to set goals every day, because then, even if it's a pretty simple goal, I can check that box, and that motivation that I succeeded that day propels me forward. So my goal usually is 1,000 words every day. I can usually bang out 1,000 words every day if I'm, feeling it. But the good thing about 1,000 word a day goal is that since it's usually pretty achievable for me, I can feel good about it. And if I miss a day, 1,000 words isn't usually too much to like make up over a weekend or something like that. But every person is going to have their own
A
goals.
I agree. I would say some days it just depends on life, and
You know what? If your goal is today, I'm going to open up the document and look at it for 5 minutes. And you can check that box, then you have done something that day. Keeping the book on your mind is doing something that day. And you know
I
what?
love the positivity.
Absolutely. It's so important because if you do get to a point where you are not enjoying what you're doing, if you get to a point where it's just work, you're not going to make progress. It's art is something that you have to love while you're doing it. And if you're not loving it while you're doing it, I understand if it's like for your job, that's how you make money, then it is work. But like, this is the sort of job where if you can enjoy it, your work will be better. So for me, this, it is my job. It is how I make money. But if I'm not actively having a good time doing it, I know that my product will not be that good. So keep that positive attitude. Give yourself break days if you need break days. And just, try to keep a goal that is achievable for you to manage so that you can feel good about yourself when you do it. Because feeling good about yourself will let you keep writing.
All fantastic pieces of advice, and I really agree with if you're not enjoying actually putting your fingers on the keys and typing, or if you handwrite, if you're not having fun with that process, it's going to come through in your writing, and it's going to, you, like EG said, it's gonna affect the final product. So if you need to, take a break for a little while until you feel, like you want to get back into it and set realistic goals.
And not only will it affect the final product, it'll also affect you. Burnout sucks. Avoid burnout if you can. Take care of yourself, especially since so many of us are stuck at home right now. While it might be tempting to say, oh, I have so much time to work, not even a big deal, can do it all day. Don't do it all day. Please take care of yourself, take a minute. That's all I gotta say.
Well, everything that you've had to say is amazing advice and fantastic information about the series that you have now and the book that is coming this summer. Guys, make sure that you put it on your calendar and follow. I will have all of EG's links in the description below so that you can follow her on social media and her website as well. And if you haven't already, make sure that you click the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel. And again, just thank you so much for being here and talking about your amazing self, first off, and your amazing series, second off.
Oh, you really are trying to make me blush. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again soon.